Now, I want everybody to know that Mike and I did not plan to both wear black button-up shirts, and yet here we are.
Yeah, but you don't have a Poncho Surf Shop T-shirt on underneath, so
You know what? That 100% true. I do not own a single surf shop T-shirt. That's not a thing.
never been to Poncho's Pismo Beach. It's a great place.
I've been to Pismo. You know what? I have been to Pismo Beach. Um, all right. So, some things real quick. We have security awareness training next month. You can sign up for it on our website. Also, we have a panel on insurance coming up next week as well. You can also sign up for it on criticalinsight.com/events. Um, I know we usually say this at the end, but we're going to say it at the beginning this time. Patch Chrome.
Patch Chrome.
There's some real bad 0-day vulns. And importantly, if you're that person in the meeting where you see the other person has up Chrome and it says update now, it's okay to tell them to update.
Yeah.
You can be that person. Okay, let's get to big news here.
Yeah.
So, Change Healthcare.
Yep.
For those of you who, I think everybody knows what it is at this point, but large
Surprisingly,
company.
a lot of people do not.
So, large company had a breach and has prevented people from getting prescriptions, has prevented hospitals from getting paid, has disrupted all sorts of hospital operations, and created a lot of conversation around third party vulnerabilities, and created a lot of hubbub on Capitol Hill around regulation. You know, Mike, two big things to talk about today. One is the federal scrutiny and the regulation, and the other is Change Healthcare just came out and said, um, uh, you know, did people take patient data from this?
Yeah, this is the big question,
So
right?
start there. Yeah.
Okay, well, let's start with that second one first because I think this is the more interesting thing. Yes, Congress is starting to really rattle some cages about this, because we created this single point of failure.
Hmm.
But so what United Healthcare is saying is we have just now gotten to the point where we have mounted, decompressed all of the information we need to analyze to determine if records were taken.
Hmm.
So there's continuing speculation as to when's this other shoe going to drop, and I think it's interesting that the stuff has not showed up online, right? It's not for sale. The affiliate that actually did the deed got scammed out of their payment when Alf V closed up shop and did their exit scam thing. So are they going to monetize records if they have them, and if so, why haven't they shown up online? And there's a couple of theories as to why. One is maybe they're just afraid, and there's a rewards out now for them. $15 million, I think, is the reward for this particular affiliate gang, and another one for $5 million for anybody that is attempting to use the Alf V infrastructure to do a ransomware attack against someone. So they could be afraid. The other thing is, and remember, we talked about, I think it was last week, they have found someone with Chinese nation state fingerprints on this event. And so if it's not an affiliate gang and it turns out to have been a state sponsored act trying to hide behind criminal infrastructure, the records probably are not going to show up. They're probably not going to monetize them, but they are going to use them. So, there's all kinds of uncertainty around this, and now we're going to wait and see what United Healthcare says. If any information was taken, it's probably PHI, and they will probably have to go, do a public report on HHS and show up on the wall of shame and get sued and all those other fun
Well,
things.
so and digging into that for a second, this matters a lot, not just because of the impacts on people, but the impacts on organizations. So on hospital organizations and the like. So they've already incurred immense costs in dealing with this, and some folks have insurance that will cover it, and some folks don't. I just talked to one organization where they just figured out that their insurance policy has an exclusion for this.
Super.
And so for them, they don't want to be the ones who are sending out the breach notifications. That's going to cost a lot of money and take a lot of time and all of those things. They want Change Healthcare to do it. And, I read one thing that said Change, Change doesn't want to be the one, Change doesn't want to do that. And so they're being, the optimistic version is meticulous and the pessimistic version is overly guarded
or
about,
foot dragging.
yeah,
Mhm.
about this. So, not great. But
Yeah, the
um
fallout. So remember Blackbaud, right?
mhm,
They were like that was one of the first, supply chain attacks against the healthcare sector.
yeah,
And what happened was every individual institution, every covered entity had to file their own breach report, and that's
yep,
why Blackbaud, just got class actioned. Uh, and I think we're looking at the same thing.
yeah.
If you were sharing records with Change and those were your records that went out, you're the one that's going to have to make that pronouncement. And
And
that's,
now federal scrutiny, right? Is this so the question is this is one of the first large healthcare breaches because Blackbaud didn't do this, where like the average American could not get their prescriptions at a
yeah,
pharmacy. And so it has really energized lawmakers. It has really, made an impact. It wasn't just one hospital shut down for a couple of days. Not that that's small, but small compared to this. Do we, Mike, now see enough federal scrutiny that like the healthcare cybersecurity performance goals become regulation?
like I said before, I mean, how can you regulate anymore? I mean, they've already got all this regulation, right? And by the way, those cybersecurity performance goals, those have been going on for a while, and they were
Mm-hmm.
only recently, given to the health sector because, last year, CISA started putting out these CPGs, and it was generically for anyone. And,
Mm-hmm.
hopefully, if Congress gets involved, all right, what they're going to do is they're going to come up with a single standard that applies everywhere instead of 14 directions, telling you what to do. And, can they get that done? I don't know. I mean, Congress is pretty dysfunctional right now, but the patchwork that we have now of all this regulatory stuff is not helping anyone.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean, I think that's things are moving too slowly. There's too much of a patchwork. It's not great.
Yep.
Um, So, Mike, another big story, this thousands of phones and routers swept into proxy service. What happened here?
Yeah, this is the ongoing saga of consumer grade equipment, right? The things that you have at your house, your cable modem, your DSL modem,
Hmm.
your Linksys router, all that stuff. That stuff is being attacked constantly. And what this particular one, and I can't remember. I think this is Chinese actors behind this, but it's a piece of malware called the Moon. And
Hmm.
what it's doing is enrolling all these devices into a service that is sold online that proxies your connection traffic so that you're hiding behind this network of these compromised routers. So
Hmm.
it's kind of like a Tor where you're bouncing around everywhere and nobody knows where you really are. And so your home router could be facilitating all kinds of crime here.
Hmm.
And, I don't expect people at home to know about patching routers and things like that. But frankly, if the internet service providers aren't patching their stuff, and that's what's, being enrolled in this giant network of proxies, that's reprehensible. They need to be on top of that. And
Yeah.
I don't think we have visibility into that.
I mean, some of them are better than others, of course. The um, Another big story here is the U.S. and Britain now accusing
Oh, yeah.
China of all of these malicious cyber campaigns. This is not at all
Sanctions, too.
surprising. Yeah, so but that they're actually doing sanctions, that seems like a real uptick here.
Yeah. And China keeps fighting back and going, "Hey, we never do this kind of thing. We would never do this. We got your fingerprints, okay?" And so now we're getting to where we're starting to get a little more serious. There've been all these warnings coming out. They're in our
Mhm.
infrastructure. They can pull the trigger whenever they want. And now we're starting to push back a little harder. Our name and shame methodology doesn't seem to work so well. So now we're going to sanction the country. We're going to make it economically hurt, which, great, good. I'm glad you're doing that. I think internationally, I think the bigger thing is the Russian disinformation campaigns that are coming up to the election. They found a whole bunch of fake news sites, okay, with Russian ties, and they look real, and there will be a lot of real stories on there, but there will be one or two that are just inflammatory, right? And so there's all these people in social media that are being paid to agitate, right? That's the way you drive engagement. Facebook did a lot of studies into this.
Yep.
So, some influencer on Twitter, for example, finds one of these sites and then repackages that, shoots it out into the social media sphere, and all of a sudden everybody is up in arms about something that never really happened. And I am encountering this through my friends. I have, a friend from graduate school who is just hook, line, and sinker with this stuff. And, we said coming up to the election, this stuff is going to get animated, right? Now, Russians are actually attacking political parties as well. Remember the DNC?
And they're getting so much better at this. I think
the
thing is, you used to be able to spot it a little bit, and now less so. And very specifically, I saw somebody point out yesterday with the Key Bridge in Baltimore, the collapse of the Key Bridge, that one of the articles that came out on a questionable news site looked very real and had a lot of the real facts, and then went into conjecture about whether it was a cyber attack or
terrorism,
or this or that.
I saw these too.
But went deeper than the others with some fake quotes and fake proof. And no, I mean, it wasn't just like some random person who actually believes this. It was very likely, Russian actors trying to, bring in disinformation into that, into that conversation. Hey, we're running out of time today. Can you hit the threats and vulns for folks?
Sure. Emergency fix for Windows servers crashes. The last patch bundle makes Windows Server crash, Server 2016. So if that's happening to you, find out about this. WordPress is getting hacked like crazy all over the world. That just makes the day of the week ending in Y. Firefox, also a couple of 0-day bugs, just like Chrome at the Pwn to Own contest, right? Where you find a 0-day vulnerability, get paid for it. So patch Firefox. There's a kit out there, and we have encountered something like this, where if you interact with a link that comes in with no context, it's phishing, you think it's, you interact with a script that will pull your session token off, present it to Microsoft, multi-factor challenge comes, routes back, all of a sudden they're in. So watch out for that, right? Spurious second factor challenges. Last one, Screen Connect. There's espionage going on, and using this ConnectWise Screen Connect vulnerability, so that CVE is 1709. Get after that, and then be sure and patch Chrome.
Did you say patch Chrome? We never tell people to patch Chrome.
Patch Chrome. That's a big deal.
All right. So at the end of all these, you have something to make us laugh or think a little deeper. What do you got this time?
Well, it's the I think the obvious effect of legislation. So Texas and other states are starting to do age verification for types of internet access, and this one is, if you're going to go to porn sites, you have to verify your age. Okay. So, of course, that has resulted in a 235% uptick in VPN use. Who could have seen that coming? Who could have seen that coming?
So, you're saying that because people in Texas can't get to Pornhub anymore, they're getting VPNs. And so really, this is a law that has resulted in better security?
In better privacy. And it's also, I think the take-home message here is that it's easy to be smarter than government.
Really? I thought it was just, hey, this is how we get everybody to use VPNs.
Okay.
I mean, you can
make lemonade, I guess.
Or porn, whatever. All right, everybody. Well, on that note, have a great day.
Yep. Have a great day. Bye.